The restaurant glows with celebration, golden lights reflecting off crystal glasses, laughter spilling over linen-draped tables, executives smiling with the confidence of people who believe the night belongs to them. Ethan Cole stands near the center, phone still warm in his hand, barely breathing. The large screen behind him flickers, meant to play a loving tribute, inside jokes, smiling selfies, a perfect corporate wife montage. Instead, the room freezes as the video shifts. Lauren's face fills the screen, intimate, careless, unmistakably private. Her laugh is softer here, her body angled toward another man, his hand resting where Ethan's once belonged. Time fractures. Sound drains from the room like air from a punctured lung. Ethan's brain refuses to process what his eyes confirm. This isn't rumor. This isn't suspicion. This is exposure, raw, undeniable, irreversible. In a room full of witnesses, his marriage dies in real time, silence crashes hard, thick enough to choke on. Someone inhales sharply. A wine glass slips from trembling fingers and shatters, the sound echoing far louder than it should. Ethan feels his knees weaken, his heartbeat slamming against his ribs like it's trying to escape his body. Then Lauren laughs. Not nervous. Not apologetic. Sharp. Clean. Controlled. She stands, perfectly composed, eyes bright with something cruelly confident. She doesn't rush to explain or deny. She enjoys the moment. Turning toward Ethan, she speaks clearly, loudly, each word designed to carve into him. Don't you get it? You're not my first. Gasps ripple through the room. Ethan's ears ring as if he's underwater. He remembers nights promising her protection, stability, loyalty. Every sacrifice flashes through his mind like a mockery. This isn't betrayal whispered in private, it's humiliation staged for maximum damage. Lauren doesn't look back. She links arms with the other man and walks out as if she's won something, heels clicking against marble, shoulders high, untouched by the wreckage she leaves behind. Conversations don't resume. No one moves. Ethan stands alone, exposed under 1,000 unblinking eyes. Colleagues, friends, people who once respected him now see only the man who wasn't enough. His chest tightens painfully, his hands go numb. The room feels smaller, hotter, hostile. His mind loops one sentence again and again, relentless and merciless. She wanted me to break. This wasn't accidental. This was planned. Careers will shift. Reputations will rot. His masculinity, his authority, his sense of self, all cracked open in a single night. And as he stands there, humiliated and hollow, the audience understands one thing clearly. This moment didn't end his story. It ignited it. Ethan Cole grew up in a cramped apartment on the rougher side of the city, where every day demanded resourcefulness and grit. From childhood, he witnessed the fragility of stability, parents juggling multiple jobs, bills stacking higher than hope. That life instilled a quiet fire in him, a relentless drive to build a life where security wasn't a luxury but a guarantee. Ethan worked long hours, studied endlessly, and made sacrifices most people wouldn't see or understand. Loyalty, commitment, and endurance became not just values but survival tools. He believes that love isn't a storm to weather but a mountain to climb together, quietly, steadfastly. Avoiding confrontation, he assumed patience and devotion would hold relationships together, not realizing that some cracks run too deep. His world is structured, deliberate, and safe, a fortress designed to protect himself and those he loves. Even if it sometimes blinds him to Lauren Cole is magnetic. Her presence draws attention effortlessly, leaving rooms silent or captivated. Ambition fuels her, ambition sharpened by a lifelong hunger for admiration and validation. She grew up in circles that rewarded beauty, wit, and the thrill of power, which shape her sense of entitlement. Ordinary love, Ethan's steadfastness, and quiet devotion feel constricting to her. While she once adored Ethan's steadiness, over time, she resented it, mistaking reliability for weakness, dismissing his quiet strength as dullness. Her charm masks emotional manipulation, small jabs during dinner parties, veiled critiques at work events, affection doled out like currency. She desires more than partnership. She craves attention, influence, and control. Ethan's love, once a grounding anchor, now feels like a tether holding her back. In subtle ways, she begins to erode the very foundation he built, leaving him blind to the storms brewing just beneath their polished life. Betrayal. Before the fall, Ethan and Lauren's marriage was a careful balance of love and compromise, a fragile dance where affection existed alongside subtle power struggles. Public belittlement, withheld intimacy, and whispered arguments slowly eroded Ethan's confidence. Yet he continued to give more, believing love required endurance. Surrounding them, the supporting cast adds layers of tension and guidance. Marcus Hale, the older, confident man, exudes power and control, stepping effortlessly into cracks Ethan cannot see. Rachel Cole, Ethan's perceptive sister, notices the erosion early, gently warning him against the storm he refuses to acknowledge. Daniel Brooks, his blunt and protective best friend, watches with frustration as loyalty blinds him. Stakes run deeper than emotion. Joint assets, business ventures, intertwined social circles. Divorce isn't just personal ruin, it's financial, social, and emotional devastation. Ethan's devotion becomes a double-edged sword, keeping him blind while the world around him shifts dangerously beneath his feet. Ethan storms through the front door, his hands trembling, heart hammering, adrenaline spiking. The house, once a sanctuary, feels hollow and unfamiliar, the air thick with tension. Lauren sits casually on the couch, legs crossed, scrolling on her phone, the very picture of composure. There's no shock on her face, no tearful denial, only a faint, almost smug relief that Ethan finally found out. He flinches at her calmness. How can someone betray you so fully and remain untouched? Words choke in his throat. His carefully rehearsed confrontations collapse as he realizes there is nothing left to argue. She doesn't need to defend herself. Her silence and cold amusement speak louder than any confession. Ethan watches the woman he once loved, the woman he trusted implicitly, and feels the weight of a lifetime of loyalty crumbling in mere seconds. The ground beneath him has vanished. Lauren's voice cuts through the silence like ice. She doesn't flinch. She doesn't soften. This wasn't the first affair, she says, almost conversationally. She never respected him. She never loved the quiet, steady devotion that had defined his life. She stayed because he was safe, convenient, a placeholder for her social comfort and personal ambition. Ethan feels the punch of each word deep in his chest, the betrayal sharper than he ever imagined possible. Memories flood back, anniversaries, whispered promises, sleepless nights caring for her while she pursued her desires elsewhere. Everything he believed in, every sacrifice, every gesture of love, now feels manipulated, staged, exploited. And just when he reels from the revelation, she smiles faintly and warns, challenge her, fight back, and she will destroy him. Careers, finances, reputation, all potential collateral damage. His life has been rewritten, and the foundation he trusted has crumbled beyond repair. Ethan doesn't go home that night. He parks the car under the dim glow of a street lamp, engine off, staring blankly at the dashboard. His body aches, heart heavy with disbelief. He scrolls through old photos on his phone, smiles, birthdays, vacations, proof that once he believed in love, that she once pretended to. How can someone rewrite history so completely, so effortlessly? Tears prick his eyes, but he doesn't cry. Instead, a slow, simmering clarity emerges from the wreckage. For the first time, he doesn't beg, doesn't plead, doesn't hope for mercy. Something inside him hardens, a resolve forged in humiliation and heartbreak. I will not disappear quietly, he tells himself, voice low but unwavering. In that quiet, lonely car, under the watchful eyes of streetlights and shadows, Ethan takes the first step toward reclaiming his life, and preparing for the storm that must follow. Lauren's campaign begins subtly, yet devastatingly. In social gatherings, she recounts her story, painting herself as the wounded, resilient spouse betrayed by Ethan's imagined shortcomings. Colleagues nod sympathetically. Friends hesitate, unsure what to believe. Each word, each anecdote, is carefully calibrated to erode Ethan's reputation without him speaking a word. His phone buzzes with muted messages, some supportive, some distant, some plainly avoiding him. Corporate whispers snake through hallways, veiled and sharp, hinting at instability, judgment, and gossip. Ethan feels the walls close in. Familiar faces now resemble strangers, loyalties uncertain. Isolation seeps into his bones. The man who once trusted deeply begins to recognize the cost of his endurance. Every connection, every handshake, every casual dinner now carries the weight of suspicion. Lauren's cruelty is surgical, publicly charming, privately lethal, and Ethan realizes that standing firm will require a strength he hasn't yet summoned. Deus whispers swirl. Ethan turns inward and outward simultaneously. Late nights in his study reveal patterns he previously ignored. Financial discrepancies in joint accounts, unusual transactions, hidden assets, and legal vulnerabilities he had trusted Lauren to respect. Each discovery sharpens his focus, igniting both anger and clarity. Determined, he hires a discreet, ruthless attorney who begins untangling layers of deception, mapping paths for both defense and strategy. Simultaneously, therapy sessions guide Ethan through the emotional wreckage. He confronts his avoidance of conflict, the ways he had dissolved his voice in the name of love, and the misconception that kindness equates to self-erasure. Slowly, a psychological transformation occurs. He begins to separate guilt from responsibility, loyalty from subjugation, and love from manipulation. The man who once endured silently now plots a careful, controlled counteraction, balancing emotional recovery with strategic precision. Ethan's newfound resolve rattles Lauren. The woman who once manipulated effortlessly finds her control slipping. Her social mask begins to falter, careless comments, abrupt anger, fleeting doubt behind her confident smile. Meetings that were once polished become tense, subtle lies unravel under scrutiny. Her calculated charisma now occasionally cracks, revealing the raw panic beneath. She grows reckless, attempting bolder, more public stunts, testing Ethan's patience and composure, but he doesn't break. Each attempt to destabilize him meets quiet, measured resistance. Ethan has learned the art of controlled retaliation, soft words that shield, strategic silence that exposes. As tension escalates, both are pushed to extremes, one fueled by desperation to dominate, the other by quiet determination to reclaim autonomy. The dynamic shifts. The predator is challenged, the hunted fights back. In this precarious dance, the story stakes rise. Nothing will remain the same. The courtroom hums with quiet tension, polished wood, and marble walls echoing the subtle shuffling of papers and murmurs of anticipation. Lauren enters, composed and self-assured, expecting control, ready to charm and manipulate her way to victory. Ethan, calm and collected, sits across the room, his documents neatly arranged, every detail meticulously prepared. As proceedings unfold, he presents evidence that shatters her carefully curated facade, bank statements revealing financial fraud, correspondences exposing manipulation, and proof that her infidelity intertwined with professional misconduct. Gasps ripple through the gallery, whispers turn to shocked conversations. Friends, family, and colleagues realize the extent of her deception. Lauren's eyes widen imperceptibly, panic restrained behind practiced composure. The social veneer she relied on crumbles. Ethan doesn't scream or lash out. He simply lays the facts bare, letting truth perform the role of justice. In that courtroom, the balance of power begins to tilt irreversibly just as Lauren tries to salvage her image. Marcus Hale, her previously confident ally, steps back, abandoning her to protect his own reputation. His subtle smirk and cold distance signal the shift of loyalty. Emails and messages surface, revealing Lauren orchestrated the public humiliation, planning every detail with surgical precision. Shock reverberates across the courtroom and social circles. Her allies recoil, murmurs turning into outright disbelief. The woman who seemed untouchable is stripped bare, her manipulations laid open for all to see. Ethan doesn't revel in the exposure. His composure is deliberate, almost serene. Every revelation reinforces the careful strategy he has built over months: evidence, emotional resilience, and controlled responses. As the court absorbs these truths, the scale of betrayal is clear, not just personal, but calculated and public. The twist isn't just shocking, it's decisive, shifting the narrative entirely. Lauren breaks, finally and publicly. Her composure crumbles, voice quivering, eyes darting for support that has evaporated. Allies avert their gaze, friends murmur, colleagues lean in, witnessing the fall from grace. Ethan stands calmly, voice steady, delivering the truth without mockery or satisfaction, allowing facts to dismantle her empire of lies. In that moment, power shifts fully. Custody, credibility, and social respect pivot toward Ethan. Lauren's status, carefully built over years, disintegrates in hours, while Ethan claims not vengeance, but justice and self-preservation. The emotional weight is enormous, yet Ethan's restraint magnifies his victory. He demonstrates that endurance, strategy, and integrity can overcome manipulation and cruelty. In the courtroom and beyond, the social and emotional hierarchy reconfigures. For Ethan, this isn't merely a legal triumph, it's a reclamation of identity, dignity, and future, closing a chapter of betrayal while opening one of unshakable personal strength. The courtroom drama is behind him, the papers signed, and the finality of divorce settled. Ethan walks out of the building with a quiet strength, the weight that had pressed on his shoulders for years finally lifted. Assets are divided fairly. No tricks, no hidden agendas remain. He steps into the sunlight, feeling an unfamiliar lightness, the kind that comes from reclaiming control over one's own life. For the first time in a long while, he breathes without tension, unburdened by deceit and manipulation. The streets feel different, every sound sharper, every shadow softer. He's aware that the journey ahead won't be without challenges, but the anchor of fear has been cut. In these small, silent victories, Ethan discovers a profound truth. The end of one chapter can be liberation if met with calm, measured strength. Walking away isn't defeat, it's ownership of his life and future. Ethan begins reconnecting with the people he had neglected while navigating a toxic marriage. Family dinners, quiet conversations, laughter with his sister Rachel, and bonding with friends who stood by him become the pillars of his new routine. He invests time in himself. Exercise, meditation, and creative outlets provide stability and perspective. Therapy sessions reinforce the idea that self-worth is intrinsic, not proven by endurance for others' failings. He begins to recognize patterns he allowed and sets firm boundaries, learning to assert his needs without guilt. Healing isn't linear. There are moments of doubt, shadows of past pain, and unexpected pangs of nostalgia. Yet each small choice reinforces empowerment. Ethan's life shifts from reaction to intention, from survival to thriving. In reclaiming his emotional and mental space, he discovers joy and confidence previously buried beneath obligation and betrayal. The world watches for scandal, but Ethan refuses to play the game. He declines media interviews, social commentary, and any temptation to exploit his story. His victory is not in public applause but in quiet dignity. In restraint, he finds power. Every unspoken truth, every calm decision, becomes a testament to his resilience. Friends notice the change. He's confident yet approachable, self-assured without arrogance. Ethan walks through life lighter, grounded in authenticity rather than performance. Each choice reinforces his independence. He doesn't react to provocation, doesn't chase revenge, and doesn't validate manipulation. Strength, he learns, is measured not by conflict won but by self-preservation and composure maintained under pressure. In this subtle arc, Ethan emerges unbroken, his life rebuilt on honesty, boundaries, and inner peace. The story closes not with chaos, but with quiet empowerment. A man who reclaimed his narrative entirely. 1 year has passed, yet the air around Ethan carries a different weight. Gone is the tension, the anxiety, the constant vigilance he carried like armor. He sits at a small, intimate gathering, friends and family chatting softly, laughter punctuating gentle background music. The room feels warm, grounded, and safe, a stark contrast to the chaos of his past. Someone, curious and gently probing, asks the question that once could have ignited fury: "Do you hate her?" Ethan pauses, taking in the question as if tasting it, feeling the gravity of his journey. Memories of betrayal flicker through his mind, but they no longer bind him. He speaks with measured calm, a serenity that comes from deep understanding rather than denial. "No," he says quietly, each syllable carrying the weight of self-realization. "I finally understand her. And that freed me." Silence follows, not of shock, but of reflection, an acknowledgement of his growth. As the evening winds down, Ethan steps outside, leaving the soft chatter and warm lights behind. The sky is painted in gentle shades of twilight, a calm breeze brushing against his face. He walks down a quiet street, each step deliberate, unhurried, embodying the freedom of someone who has reclaimed his narrative. There is no triumph in his posture, no arrogance or satisfaction. Instead, there is wholeness, a completeness born from self-discovery and resilience. The world around him moves on, indifferent, yet he feels intimately connected to the moment, the distant glow of streetlights, the whisper of leaves, the rhythm of his own breath. He no longer chases closure, nor does he cling to the scars of the past. In this final scene, the narrative of betrayal gives way to empowerment. The calm evening mirrors his inner peace, the harmony he fought to reclaim, and the life he now owns completely. Ethan pauses briefly, looking at the horizon as the first stars appear. The journey from deception, betrayal, and public humiliation to this moment has reshaped him entirely. His strength is quiet, not performative. His victory is internal, measured, and complete. Reflecting on the years of manipulation, heartbreak, and public exposure, he understands that some betrayals, no matter how deep, are not destructive. They are instructive. They reveal weaknesses, demand courage, and ultimately illuminate the path to authenticity. With this revelation, he whispers to himself, a line carrying resonance far beyond the immediate scene: "Some betrayals don't destroy you. They introduce you to yourself." It's a statement both personal and universal, one that lingers in the mind, inspiring reflection, and emotional resonance. In this quiet moment, Ethan has not just survived, he has become fully, unequivocally whole.